Hey there, everyone. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here to do ranking of the songs off an album. The album we've chosen is this one. Try to get it in a spot where you can see it really well. So this is Peter Gabriel II, or Scratch as some people call it. I've always thought of it as Peter Gabriel II, but I understand why people might call it Scratch. So this is his second album. I never really cared much for his first album. There are a couple songs on it, but this one I like a lot. It's a high one for me, a medium one for me. There are 3 or 4 albums I like more than it, I think, but I still like it a lot. And part of the reason I like this album a lot is because when I first moved out on my own, I was about 21, got my own place. This was one of the first albums I bought. There was a kind of a used record store down the street, and I went in there and I bought a bunch of cassettes, which I had never really owned before, but because I had given away because my sister had taken the phono player and I'd given her all of my vinyl albums, I decided I was going to collect cassettes, and so I bought about 4 or 5 cassettes, and this was one of them. This one and the first album were the first 2 Peter Gabriels I owned at the time. So this one actually I liked initially when I heard it, so it got a lot of airplay that first month or so that I was on my own. It was probably at that period in time probably my favorite album. So I'm going to rank the songs, and how we normally do this is I rank them from my least favorite to my most favorite, or from worst to first if you prefer, and just talk a little bit about each song as we go up. And so we're going to get underway with that, and of course if you want to rank them to the way you like them, you can do that in the comment section below. So number 11 for me was Flotsam and Jetsam. It's one of the only tracks, I think it's the only track on the album that I never really warmed up to. I never, even in the beginning and even now, I still, it doesn't really do anything for me. It's kind of forgettable, and I had to actually go and, when I played the album, I actually had to remember what it was about, because I sometimes used to skip that song when I was younger. Just never really warmed up to it. So that's going to be number 11. Number 10 is Perspective. This is the jump up. So Perspective I like. I just don't like it as much as a lot of the other stuff. It's a good, solid track. Pretty much within the standard of this album, which is more of a acoustic, more of a mellow album than some of his other stuff that come later. Not as much. It's still got that sound where he hadn't quite jumped to the more progressive kind of world sound that he's now doing now, which kind of, I think, kind of moved that way with the Security album and beyond, definitely with the Soul album and beyond. But he still has a little bit of that raw sound here, which I like. The next track up is Indigo, pretty much the same as Perspective. I like both of these tracks. They're not among my favorite, but they definitely are good tracks, and I like them a lot. Number 8 is Home Sweet Home. This is the first one that I kind of feel like it's a song that I used to sing quite a bit. I don't sing it as much as I used to, but I always like the kind of longing sound that it had to it for being back home, and the way he sang it was really good as well. Then we get the number 7 song, which is kind of an outlier on the album. So this is the one that Fripp and him wrote together, called Exposure. It's really kind of different, kind of almost beginnings of that kind of world sound that he had, but it's a really kind of a different sound to it altogether. But I do like this track quite a bit. So Exposure at number 7. The next 6 tracks and up are ones I really like quite a bit. So Animal Magic is the first of those. This one, lots of that Peter Gabriel sound. His voice is really strong here. The drums are strong here. It's more of an up-tempo song. I really like this one quite a bit. Then you have Wonderful Day in a One-Way World. One day, one way. Yeah, it's the beginning of that kind of stuff too. For me, this is number 5, and I really like the beginning of that kind of storytelling stuff that we become so familiar with his music. The next one is a little bit more of a bit of a darker song, even though it's called White Shadow. It's a little bit more of a storytelling song as well. I really like it a lot. Comes in at number 4. The next 3 are coincidentally in order from the beginning of the album down. So the first 3 tracks are the first 3 favorites on it too, which was good because that's probably the thing that captured me in making this an album I played a lot when I first moved out, because it took me right away with those first 3 tracks. So the number 3 one is Mother of Violence. Yeah, it's just his storytelling. The lyrics are great. The vocals are fantastic. That little bit of, I think it's acoustic and some piano on this particular song. Really cool. So it comes number 3. The top 2 are easily the top 2. DIY is still a song I love and sing all the time. Just really strong vocally, almost anthemic in a lot of ways. And I like that little intro part with a little drum and the build-up of the using the scale to build up into the song. So it's DIY, number 2. Number 1, On the Air. I actually like the version on the live Peter Gabriel Plays Live. I like that version better, but I do like this version quite a bit. It's faster paced than most of the tracks. It's got a great kind of catchy feel to it. His vocals are fantastic. The lyrics are great, and it just pulses along. Definitely, probably the only track on the album that really reaches for my top 10 or 15 Gabriel songs. So, yep. So On the Air, number 1. So I'm going to tell you in reverse as well, just so you got them. On the Air, number 1. DIY, number 2. Mother of Violence, number 3. White Shadow, number 4. A Wonderful Day in a One-Way World, number 5. Animal Magic, number 6. Exposure, number 7. Number 8, Home Sweet Home. Number 9, Indigo. Number 10, Perspective. I like the piano on that too. And number 11, Flotsam and Jetsam. Excellent album. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of ranking the songs off an album featuring Peter Gabriel's second album, or scratch if you prefer. Please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated and helpful to me. And any comments on the album, or if you want to rank the songs yourself, you can do that below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get brought up to date when stuff's coming out. And we will see you next week when we'll be doing an episode of Album Sides. I have one in mind I think I will enjoy as much as you will. Take care. Goodbye.